So, Nick,
So, Hans.
let's talk about ejaculation.
Oh, god damn it.
You know the way there are many slang terms for ejaculation, to shoot your load, to come, to, I don't know.
I think, yeah, I get the point.
Right, I learned a new one, and holy shit, I didn't know whether to laugh my ass off or vomit profusely.
Okay.
When you're making love to a woman, you make sure that you pull out and I can't even say that you make sure you pull out and chuck your muck all over her back. How fucking gross is that?
Well, Hans, you know what they say.
What?
Muck spelled backwards is cum.
I can't. It was what my mate from work just was like, did you chuck your muck? And I was like, what the fuck is that?
That's
Disgusting.
it's not something I need to know today. Put it that.
You said you don't want to chuck your... What do you say, Nick? That'll be our new phrase, to chuck one's muck.
Chucking my muck all day long.
Goddamn muck chucker.
How much muck would a woodchuck chuck? A woodchuck could chuck muck.
Oh.
God damn it, Hans.
Don't blame me, blame Andrew.
I was hoping for a nice, civilized preamble.
No.
And this is what happened.
No, because you see, now that both IOI and Alex have quit Bash Bros,
That's completely not true.
gotta get that YouTube drama going.
Yeah.
Because Alex called IOI a racist word, and that was just it.
So then IOI went round and smashed his PCO.
Yeah, and shaved his beard. And then that was it. They both quit.
Okay.
We're like the new super best friends.
Jesus.
Whatever happened there?
No idea what happened with them.
Because like, apparently, I don't know. They're like, oh, we just fell apart. Nah, it's just kind of like, cool. How does a YouTube series drive people apart?
So who do we get in to be the Danny now that the John has left?
Well, you have to weigh up your options here. Do we go for another quartet? So we have to get 2 new people, but if we do, we have to get the token minority.
Yeah.
Or do we...
So do we get another Asian, or do we mix it up and get a black person in there?
Yeah. Or else, do we go for the giant bomb route and just hire, for a majority of the career, just white guys?
Or if we could hire a female. They're minority.
No, because it's called Bash Bros. Fuck females.
Bro is an all-inclusive term. Everybody is a bro.
Everyone's a bro. Gotta brew down.
Yep.
Gotta chuck your muck.
God damn it.
I would say, I don't know, what is John Tron doing nowadays? We can get him on this. He's not that busy.
Being racist.
Being racist.
So he fits right in, really, to be fair.
Yeah. Supporting Donald Trump. Isn't that what that was about? He supported Donald Trump?
No, it was something else. It was some whole thing that I'm not remembering off the top of my head.
I do remember it was something to do with race, though. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
We'll get the I don't know, super best. We'll get one of the super best friends and John Tron in. That'll cover it.
Okay.
I think John Tron would be a good substitute for Alex.
Why?
They both have beards.
That's a very, very loose comparison.
Everyone has to have a thing. Mine is that I'm racist.
Alex's is that he has a beard.
Yeah. IOI's was that he was Asian. And yours is that you're gay. So...
God damn it.
And yours was that you were from Derry, and then you fucking threw that out the window, so...
God, you're just offending everybody these days.
At least I'm not attacking... No, I can't say the name. I'll have to censor myself again.
God damn it.
I was going to say where I work. Yeah.
Alright, let's rock this. I've got a weird pain in my side.
I thought you were going to say you've got a boner.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to the Not So Super Bash Bros Presents Game Club for March 2019. Yes! Game Club is back. The Well, it's the monthly video podcast review thing where we take turns picking a game, go play them for the month, and come back and discuss them for your listening pleasure. This month we played Psychonauts from Double Fine Studios.
We being a very loose term.
Yes. I am Psycho Killer Nick Davis, joined as ever by Keskase Hans Davis.
Chuck your muck.
God damn. And yes, that is it. Just the old twosome today.
It's like back to the quote-unquote glory days of Bash
Yep.
Bros.
Simpler times.
In fact, when Nick had short hair and I had hair
And hope.
and less back pain.
Less sexual assault felonies.
Less erectile dysfunction.
Yes, Psychonauts, the 3D platformer, originally released in April 2005 on PC, Xbox, and PS2. Hans, you chose Psychonauts.
I did.
Elaborate.
I picked Psychonauts because the trailer for Psychonauts 2 had relatively recently been released at the time, and I'd always heard a lot of good things about Psychonauts. It's kind of a cult classic, so I was kind of like, yeah, why not? Double Fine usually do make quite fun games, because they did as Rock of Ages or Brutal Metal Heavy. What was that one that with Jack Black?
Brutal Legend.
Brutal Legend.
And they also did not do Rock of Ages.
No, what is Rock of Ages?
It's like that Boulder
That's
game.
the Boulder game, yeah.
They did Brutal Legend. They did a lot of those old LucasArts games. Well, a lot of them went in to make Double Fine. They did Psychonauts. They did Broken Age. And they've done a bunch of like smaller indie stuff as well.
So yeah, they had like a good reputation of making fun games, and I thought, hey, this will be a fun game then.
Sweet. What is Psychonauts? I hear you say.
Nick, what is Psychonauts?
Yes! Hans, what is Psychonauts? In Psychonauts, you play as Raz, short for Rasputin, as he sneaks into a psychic summer camp to try and join the Psychonauts, who are an elite group of Psy agents. However, hijinks ensue, and a mysterious force is stealing his campmate's brains, and Raz is the only person who can get to the bottom of it. And as ever, I have split this into 3 categories. More categories than there are people on this podcast.
Yeah. Nick, tell me what those 3 categories are.
Gameplay.
That's what I'd like to hear.
Story and characters.
Mm-hmm.
And 3D platformers.
Sweet Mother Jemima, that sounds delicious.
You're a strange man.
I don't even know where these things come from anymore.
But before we get into it, Hans, how far did you get in Psychonauts?
I got up to the very last fucking level. Like, how far did you get in? Oh no, we'll get to that. Like, how far did you get in the Psychonauts?
I got about 3.5 hours into it.
And?
I maybe would have played more, but I've had a busy month.
Yeah, that's true.
What with moving home and all that.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough.
But yes, gameplay. As I mentioned, Psychonauts is a fairly standard 3D platformer, and it kind of falls in line with some of the collectathon 3D platforms of the time. You're like Super Mario 64, your Banjo-Kazooies, and more recently in that kind of vein, Ukulele. They're maybe a little less freeform than some of those. There is kind of still a strict level path, and you're not really going back to levels multiple times to get things. Mm-hmm. But the core mechanics of that collect stuff is there.
Yeah, like you can't, like, I suppose it's kind of more of a thing because of they are older games, but they are, and I'm thinking of kind of like the hat bags and boxes. There's real no reason to collect those things other than just completion's sake, is there?
Yes, definitely not. Like, you'll occasionally pick up the tags and then find the matching box, but like, it doesn't give you anything. Like, the chest gives you like a little bit of backstory when you crack them open.
Yeah,
and,
like
some
neat.
stuff gives you like new powers, but like, yeah.
Like the ones that give you new powers, I get. Like the projections or whatever they're called. Like, I get that. That's fine, because that is a way to progress. That's like Sonic with the rings, it gives you health. That's like, Mario with the stars in 64. That is progression as well. That is the way to level up. So that I do not mind. But like the hat bags, they don't do anything. Like, even if they, and like literally, like, even if they literally give you hats to wear, it would at least be something, But I think that's just because and it's an argument I'm probably going to come back to a lot during this.
Mm.
It's because that is a product of its time. Like, collectathon nowadays we like a much more tighter game design where everything's there for a reason, whereas this was just 100% the game. There's something extra to do. Also, the animation, the fact that you couldn't skip the fucking animation did my head.
Yeah. At its core, the basic traversal stuff in Psychonauts it is a 3D platformer, but boy howdy, I do not think the platform in this game is any good.
No, it's really not. And I think it's really weird as well, because you now have games that aren't platformers that have tighter platforming controls than... Like, look at Assassin's Creed. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is kind of a platformer by all extensive means, but its controls are so much tighter, even though technically it's more of a stealth action game.
No, I wouldn't even, like, even just... You look at, like, say, this came out, 2005. Go back and look at something like Mario 64, which is still seen as, like, one of the pinnacles of 3D platformers, and I feel like it plays better than this, which is like, it feels like there's been some form of regression in like general feel of platformers from the Mario 64, which came out like 99, 2000, 2001 maybe, to now, and it feels really weird.
Nick, I'm gonna drop a bombshell here.
I
don't like Mario 64 at all.
Yeah, but you're weird.
I think its controls are so loose and wavy and shite, and not like, for a platformer you need to be able to like judge your distance. Like, if I hold in a button, I should be able to go like, right, I know how far I'm going to jump and stuff like that. And I feel like Mario 64 is a really bad example. It popularized it, yeah, but I hate Mario 64 so much.
Even then, like, I wouldn't call the controls in Psychonauts tight or precise.
No, and I agree. I completely, like, I don't think they are either, but I just think you need a better analogy. Like,
fair enough, but like, I don't think Psychonauts is exactly like pushing the boundaries of getting to, I feel like, where we are today with 3D platforming controls. Like, I feel like it's just as swimmy and imprecise as some games of the era.
No, I do agree. Like, I think like maybe it's like a fake sense of challenge, like, oh, you're technically having to fight against the controls, but then that's more just bad design rather than making it actual challenge. Like, but even like freaking Crash Bandicoot, like, and it's earlier than that, it's kind of a platformer to an extent.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Like, even, I was thinking about, like, what are maybe some more modern, like, collectathons that would have been on the PS1, and, like, Crash and Spyro were the main ones that came into my head. And, like, I'd say both of those, I would say play better than this.
Yeah, like, I think they are, as platformers, their controls are a lot tighter, and you can, like, you know, if you jump, you know how far you're going to jump, and, you know, it doesn't have this floaty nature. Now, saying that, I think those games, no, Spyro does. Crash Bandicoot has a fixed camera, doesn't it?
Yes. The first one did anyway, yes. Spyro did not, no.
Yeah. So, like, maybe it's because, I was going to make the argument, maybe it's because we're still getting used to maybe having a free-form camera. But then if Spyro can do it, why fuck can't this game do it?
Okay,
Spyro's PS1.
Here's a comparison. Just not I don't think of two games that are on the same console. So you have Psychonauts came out in 2005.
Okay.
The first Ratchet and Clank game came out in 2002.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and like Ratchet and Clank is a really fucking good platformer.
Yeah, and it has,
I know obviously it also has the layer of being a
action game, yeah,
pseudo third person shooter.
Yeah.
But like it's platforming, like, it nails it.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Like, and the fact that this game couldn't do that is mental. Yeah, like, from a gameplay standpoint, I have so many issues with this. Like, another thing then, just about the gameplay then. Another thing that I hated was the fact there's also still a life system in 2005. Again, you look at Ratchet and Clank, it didn't have a life system.
Well,
I don't think it did anyway. There was save points and it kicked you back to the save point.
I never encountered an issue where I hit ran out of lives. So what does it actually do?
As far as I'm aware, there's only lives whenever you jump into people's brains. Once you lose all your lives, you're kicked out of that person's subconsciousness.
You just have to do the whole thing again, essentially. Like, you don't hit a checkpoint in there.
There are some checkpoints, but like, the wee alien things that can drop you from location. Yeah, it's them. They are technically the checkpoints. And
but like, if you lose all your lives, do you lose your checkpointing and just have to do the whole scenario over again, or
no? So you would go back as far as there are checkpoints within. So in between those teleporters, there are checkpoints where if you just die, you don't lose all your lives.
Oh, okay.
But then once you are kicked out, you go back to the teleporter.
Oh, okay. That seems silly. Like, it seems like there's little to no difference between losing all your lives and just losing all your health.
But even if there is autosave features, then why do you need the life system?
Yeah, true.
The challenge will come from whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah.
You don't need the edit. Like, life systems were introduced in arcade games.
I know, it's a way to steal money.
For people to keep putting money in. In a home console, you don't need life systems. And, like, the fact that they still have it in 2005 when a lot of games were well past that is really, really shocking. Because I didn't think there was that sort of games done before. Like, the fact Ratchet and Clank was done before this is scary because Ratchet and Clank was fucking amazing.
Like, yeah, even when you think about it, like, 2005 was just on the verge of the 360 launching. Like, 360 launched at the end of 2005.
Oh, really? Whoa. That's... Well, one, that makes me feel old, but two, that's really scary.
Then I want to say PS3 was 6 or 7. Like, this would have been tail end of the PS2's life cycle anyway. So the final bit of the gameplay then is kind of the psi powers you collect throughout the game. I think these are cool, but they are... I don't feel like they can make full use of a lot of them because obviously some of them are tied to your progression in the story, and then some of them are tied to your progression in, like, collecting some things. So they can never really make full use of the ones that are, like, gated by you collecting things because they can never be too sure if you actually have the power or not. So I unlocked, like, the telekinesis power and the pyrokinetic power, and, like, neither of them were being used in the missions I was going on because, like, the game wouldn't have, there was no way to guarantee I would have had those at that point, so they couldn't make puzzles around them. So every time, like, I was up against the boss fight and, like, kept trying to use, like, the pyrokinesis and the telekinesis, and, like, never worked, just because the boss wasn't designed with those in mind, and it was kind of infuriating at times.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the powers weren't really used to their full extent. Like, the pyrokinesis thing, like you said, like, other than getting access to a couple of areas which were for collectibles, there was very little else you could do with it. Don't get me wrong, there were some really funny moments where you could set NPCs on fire, and then they would kind of come off with some random quip. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, I do think there are really nice touches with some of the powers. Like I said, later on you unlock an invisibility power, which obviously is very useful. You know, the psi power or the telekinesis power is fun because you can actually pick up certain NPCs and they also, again, come off with a random quip.
Very nice. Now, set me down easy and go pick up something that won't blow up your head if you make it mad.
Like, that ties in. Like, I think, like, there are some really funny bits in this game, but that ties in a bit later on. But yeah, like, other than, like, the shoot power and, like, levitation power and stuff, like, some of it's just really, like, not used at all. Like the clairvoyant skill, so later on you unlock a power where you can see through the eyes of something, like, other than, again, for a laugh, because if you look at yourself through certain, like, there's a level later on where you're going through, like, this kind of typical ideal 1950s suburban area, you know, with, like, white picket fences and Girl Scouts and stuff, and if you use the clairvoyance on the Girl Scouts, they see you as, like, some sort of pervert and, like, a trench coat and stuff, because you see through their eyes, you know, and you look like a kitty snatcher. And, like, those are really funny moments, but other than the laugh, like, what's the fucking point? Like,
suppose that ties into the effect, like, there are games that have similar things, like, namely, like, games that are in the Metroidvania genre that I feel like there's a couple of things that, like, outside of, like, traversal or unlocking, like, just that specific item's usage, there isn't a lot of use for them. Like, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. Like, there's one in Dead Cells, just because I know we were talking about it earlier, off podcast thing. Yeah, like, Dead Cells has a couple of powers where, like, really the only use for them is to unlock new areas rather than for you to actually put into your toolkit and use in, like, scenarios you encounter all the time. Yeah,
it screams to me like, and this is something I've felt throughout the entire game, it screams of padding. Like, we don't really have a direction, so we're just kind of putting these things in here for you to collect, but we need a reason to put them in, so fuck it, here, have a funny moment for it. Like, it's just, the entire game, no matter how much I played of it, like, it just felt completely padded out with unnecessary stuff. Like, in that, for example, in that 1950s kind of area, in that subconscious, you have to collect certain items so that you can wear certain disguises to get through different areas. So, like, for example, you find a stop sign, so then you can pass through an area disguised as a construction worker. And then you get, like, later on, you get, like, a fake rifle, so you can pretend to be a hitman and pass through an area of hitmen and stuff like that. Now, in any game, you would maybe limit that to about, 3 to 5 items, you know, so it doesn't get too old. I think there's about 7 disguises you have to find to get through that entire section. And it's not like one linear path, so you're running around this so many, I think it's only about, it's like one area, because like the game does actually, for its time, do a good job of not putting level, if that makes sense. You know, it's not, they don't break up the mindscape. They just, it's all kind of, there's not that many loading screens. So you're really just running around one area looking for these items, and you kind of, at a certain point, you're just like, right, I'm getting fed up with this. And another, oh, fuck. So I just remind, do you know what fucking really pissed me off? And it's just the biggest example of padding I've ever seen. So they talk about psychic cobwebs, right? And I think you did get to the shop, yeah?
Yes, I saw the thing to buy it, but I couldn't buy it.
Yeah, it's like 400 arrowheads or something, which is the currency. Yep. So because that is in the shop, that to me screams, oh, that's something to help you get additional collectibles, yeah? Yeah, no, you need that to progress in the story.
Jesus.
So it is in that area, the 1950s area. It's the milk. The person's mind is called the Milkman. So you're in the Milkman's mind. I'm trying to think how to describe this. So pretty much, you have to go to the insane asylum. The Milkman is one of the convicts or patients. One of the patients there, inmates. Yeah, one of the inmates there, right? So you're away from the camp at that point. So you have to, and this is no joke. This is what happened to me. So I went to the insane asylum, found the Milkman, through the door in his head, and the message popped up saying, you might need the cobweb duster to get or you won't get too far in this level without the cobweb duster. And I was like, but why would I need the cobweb duster? It seems it's completely optional and up to this point. And this is about, you're talking like, this is about 3/4 of the way, give or take, through the game. Yeah. I haven't needed it up to this point. Why would I need it now? So I kind of went in and played. And yeah, like legit, you can't complete that mission without the cobweb duster. So I had to go exit his mind, right? Travel back to the camp, then run around like a dickhead collecting arrowheads. And you gotta remember, arrowheads only pop up at like 5 at a time. Yeah. Run around like a dickhead collecting arrowheads just to go buy the cobweb duster, then make my way back to the insane asylum and then do the level all over again. How the fuck is that remotely good game design? Do you know, like, I should not have to buy a piece of equipment that makes me that I need to complete the game. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because it should, like, if you want to have to buy it.
If you do, it should be trivial. Like, it shouldn't be some massive chore to actually get the currency.
Yeah, it should be like, here's a couple of, like, we need 10 from you. Okay, there you go. You know, or it should be like the tutorial item to show you how to use the shop system. Yeah. You know, not like literally a collectathon of having to go and run around with a divining rod trying to find the fucking arrowheads. I was very, very close to stop playing once that happened. Because, yeah, I lost the rag. I properly got really angry about it. But that's not the worst design choice, Nick.
That's what I was going to ask. You mentioned you only got to or you stopped playing during the final mission. Is that to do with the gameplay?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Nick,
I'll strap myself in. I'll lean back here.
If you get to the final level, you're expecting some massive, well, maybe a boss battle.
Like on
some
the level, bombastic set piece.
Yes.
Piece.
You know, or some like really dramatic emotional cutscene, or you know, or like a pure challenge of your skills to that point. Nick, the final level in Psychonauts is an escort mission. The most hated type of mission in any video game, and it's the final level in the fucking game. And you know what? It's not a fun level either. Like, touch on the story a bit later. But essentially, the game's like 14 years old. Fuck it, we'll talk about spoilers. So, if you don't want to hear spoilers, cover your ears now.
Hans, this is a review show. Spoilers are fair game.
Oleander, which is one of the Psychonauts and the head trainer of the camp, coach of the camp, is conspiring with Dr. Loboto.
That's a great name.
Yeah, Dr. Loboto, to take the minds of young psychics and put them in the tanks and help conquer the world. So after the boss fight, I believe it's the final boss fight against Oleander's brain in one of these tanks, you end up your psyche and Oleander's psyche merge into one, and you have to guide young Oleander, who's a child, represented as a child in his psyche, through this demonic meat circus. So
That's what I call my bedroom.
the demonic meat circus,
Yeah.
Nick, and some of the things in this level look like things that would belong in your bedroom. The bit that got me was, right, so tie into the fact that there's like 4 or 5 like as in literal like levels. So yeah, Oleander's chasing this bunny rabbit. You have to help him catch the bunny while defending him from all these monsters. Once he catches the bunny, he flies up to another part of the level. You then have to platform your way up to the level. However, while you're platforming up, there are monsters being spawned on that same level as him who are attacking him, and he doesn't defend himself at all. So you have to then race against the clock, technically, by platforming up, which, as you admitted yourself, the platforming is fucking trash.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to platform all the way up to this next bit, kill the things that are attacking him, try and stop the bunny so he can catch it, and then do this all over again. I give up after 4 times. It's all the worst design choices in a game thrown together. And I was kind of like, why is this here? I had the boss fight with him in the tank, and I thought that was a good, fun boss fight. And it was actually quite an enjoyable boss fight. You know, the brain was defeated. Why can't we just wrap this up and go home? Nah, fuck you. You have to go through a fucking escort mission. Who the fuck thinks that's a good idea? How, like, in 2005? What the fuck, like?
Yeah, it doesn't sound great. There was another game that did this or something similar where like the last mission was like some like protect this person or escort mission. So I can't remember off the top of my head. Like, unfortunately, it feels like something that has only really been phased out, or something that developers are getting right recently in terms of like escort missions. Like, it feels like end of 360 PS3 era that developers only really started getting escort missions right and enjoyable.
Yeah, like an escort mission kind of now is just they run along with you. And when you get into a fight, they hide.
They hide,
like,
or they are, like, you don't need to worry about them. Like, and it's not really an escort thing, but, like, look at The Last of Us, where, like, in The Last of Us, like, Ellie is essentially, she's invisible during fights. Like, even if an enemy sees her, it's not going to, like, break you out of stealth or anything.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just, escort missions have come a long way. But even those now aren't really missions, because like realistically, it's just like, I think The Witcher did something similar as well. You've got people with you.
Yeah,
you're taking them to a point, but they're not really a part of the mission. They'll maybe help you with you in combat and stuff, but they're not going to go down and they're not going to die. And if they do die, well, it's not the end of the mission. Oh, there's so many bad game design choices, and like until you said about Ratchet and Clank, it's a product of the. I thought I generally put down, it's a product of the time, but like that game did so many things right, where this is just fucking shit itself.
Like, I want to say, like, by the time Psychonauts came out, I think Ratchet and Clank was up to maybe 3?
2 or 3,
maybe 2?
Oh, that's disgusting, like.
Ratchet and Clank 3 came out in 2004.
Oh, that's so, like, yeah. They should be ashamed of themselves. Like, that is bad.
Any last gameplay thoughts? I feel like you summed it up fairly succinctly there.
Well, like, there's one thing I will say, which is there is actually like it's a good. I suppose I put it down to a good thing is that they use their so obviously their gameplay is limited to certain things. Like you can run, jump, and attack and stuff like that. But I will say that they do use it in a variety of different ways to keep it interesting at times. So one example is you go to some sort of Mexican themed mind because of this artist. But then there are points where you have to fight luchadors in the ring, and during these fights you actually can't use your psychic abilities on them. You can only hurt them with physical attacks. We thought, okay, that's cool, because that's interesting, because you're obviously in a lucha match and you couldn't really attack with that certain things. So I thought that was quite cool. But there's also another point where I'll talk about a bit later on in the story section, but you're playing a board game. You're actually... 2 people are playing a board game, and you can actually jump down into the board game and be a piece in it, and you can move pieces of the board game using your telekinesis, and then the board pieces like fight and stuff. So it's almost a little bit like chess. But I thought like so what they do, although it is very limited stuff, they do use them in interesting ways, I thought. But that's the only positive thing I'll say about this fucking gameplay.
It probably falls in their gameplay more than anything, is split over the art style of the game. While I like the design of some of the mindscapes, I think the character designs look like ass.
I think some of the character designs look like ass. I think some of them are really nice.
You gotta rep your boy Dogen.
I actually think Dogen's design is shite. This is it. So like all like the side kids are kind of really crappy looking, I think. So like although Dogen's like probably the more prominent of the side kids, he's still really bland. He's just an egg. Like he's an egg with a tinfoil hat. But I like the design of Rasputin, and I like the design of Lily, and I like the design of Nine and Mia, and I like the design of Ford is just Einstein, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But I do like the design of those characters, but I think some of the side characters are really boring designs.
But no, I understand that as a highly art style and things like that are very personal things, so I'm not going to hold it massively against the game.
No, but I will say that we talked a wee bit about it during the council. Because it is so abstract, it does help it hold up a wee bit. Not fantastically, and you can really see the difference whenever the pre-rendered cutscenes kick in.
Yeah,
but I do think like the game still looks all right for being 14 years old.
Yeah, the game's still very like it still holds up. Like it's not like looking at it, it's not like, oh Jesus, what is this? So yes, story and characters. So it's very apparent, but it's obviously Double Fine's thing is very much like story and characters is something they've always been praised on in every single game they've released. Even when, say, something like Brutal Legend, where the gameplay was pretty pan for about the second half when it turned into like an RTS thing.
Oh god, yeah. Everyone
still really praised Brutal Legend for its characters and story. And I don't think Psychonauts is any different. I think the character and the story they're really good. I think the characters are all really instantly likable, and you kind of get they're very good at portraying how their characters are. Like you get an idea of like archetypes really quickly. And I think from the bit of the story I saw and the like mysteries they were teasing, it all seems very interesting.
Yeah, like I think every character, like the characters are really really fun, and they are kind of fleshed out pretty well. Like you said earlier about the the safes that you can hit and you get a bit of backstory into them. Like Mia's one, Agent Miller, Mia, whatever she is, and it turns out she used to be a part of an orphanage, and then the orphanage burnt down one day when she was getting shopping, and now she's haunted by the ghosts of all the kids that died in the fire. But yet she's this upbeat, jovial 70s dancer. You know, that's really, really cool.
Like there's that, and there's also like there's the talk like you get bits and pieces of it whenever Raz gets a new power from Ford, and like Raz's backstory of like, oh, he ran away from the circus because his parents were like actively trying to not let him become a psychic, and then you like slowly find out why, because like Raz's father, like his family was originally killed by psychics.
Yeah, and even the bit and even Agent Ford as well. He's like, oh, I got into a big psychic battle and it's destroyed my brain, and unless I'm close to the Psytonium or whatever it's called, I just turn into a senile old man. Like, there are really, really nice story touches in this, you know, and everyone's kind of got their own quirks. Even my boy, Dogen, you know, he's a complete and absolute, I was going to say the R word there, but
Dimwit.
He is, like, he's thick as champ. He's one of the most powerful psychics there. Yeah. With him exploding squirrels and shit like that.
That's why he's gonna wear his tinfoil hat.
Yeah. To keep all his psychic power in.
Yeah.
And like you said, like every character is really interesting and just very engaging. And like some of the people you meet in the insane asylum are like that as well. Like you've got so one of the guys is Gloria, which is, she used to be an old a famous actress. When you go into her mind, you learn about her backstory. She was sent away to a finishing school and stuff like that. But it's all portrayed to you by like kids in a play. Like they're all performing on the stage and like telling their backstory that way. And then there's a critic who's like sits up there like the two old guy in the Muppets.
Anything else for story and characters?
No, I'll say like I thought the story and characters and the humor were fantastic. We suppose we should talk about the humor a bit. Like I genuinely did find this game hilarious.
Oh yeah, I think it's very funny in parts.
You just probably didn't get that far, but so Lily is the last person other than Raz to try and get their brain taken out by Loboto, but she is immune to the sneezing powder because she's so congested from all the hay fever.
Here, do me a favor. Tell me if you think this smells like your doom!
I can't smell anything.
Curses! You're a stubborn little ball of flame, ain't you?
Other things as well, like, so Lily gets kidnapped by this big monstrous fish thing. That's how she gets taken to Lobato. And you go into... so you actually go into the fish's mind at a certain point, and you're like Godzilla. You're called Goggle Lore because of your goggles, and like it's like you're literally walking across this map and you're destroying buildings and stuff with all these mini or lungfish shout at you like, no, please, Goggle Lore, don't destroy our world. And then like as you destroy more buildings, you hear like characters shout like, oh no, the puppy orphanage, why? And stuff like that. Like there are really funny moments, and then it turns out that this giant monstrous fish's name is actually Linda, the lungfish. Like, it's just, the humor is so on point, and there are so many funny moments I wish I could talk about, but
yeah, as I mentioned, like that is a very Double Fine thing. Like, the writing and story in their games has always been like on point, and usually the thing that gets praised most for them.
Yeah, sure. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and it just came back to me there. I mentioned earlier that you play a board game, or you can jump into a board game. The board game is ran by a certain Napoleon Bonaparte. This is the second game in a row, Nick, where Napoleon's been in our fucking game. What is going on with this?
That's kind of weird.
See if he's in Iwa's choice. I think there's something happening.
Iwa's game is actually Total War Napoleon.
It's like Civilization.
No.
So the board game, the way it breaks down is you have to like, you go on the board and you have to try and convince the pieces because they're autonomous. Like, you know, you got to fight because Napoleon Bonaparte is against his ancestor, who's actually the person's mind you're in, Fred Bonaparte. I'm not even joking.
That's a really good name.
So Fred's there. They're doing this board game, and then you have to try and convince the autonomous board pieces that you got to fight for Fred. You keep getting these peasants to help attack the soldiers, which are the Napoleon's pieces, and all of them know that they're going to die. And so like Raz jumps in. He's like, "What can I do to help you get into to fight the soldier?" "Oh, I need money." So you give him money. And they're like, "Oh, off to my death." And Raz goes like, "I mean, you don't have to die. You could, try and win." He's like, "Nope, this is the way it's got to be."
I'm recruiting for Fred Bonaparte's army.
What's it pay?
Hey, check out this coin I found.
Money? Oh, man! Well, I'm off to die in battle, dear, for an incompetent leader who'll never know my name. I hope you remarry well.
More of that negative talk.
So yes, the final section I wish to discuss is kind of... We've brought them up a lot, like other 3D platformers, and I kind of want to discuss like why it feels like we had, like, the N64 was obviously... N64 in that era was obviously rife with them. And as they kind of like petered out, and then kind of suddenly they've kind of came back, especially like these collectible ones, like Yooka-Laylee was like one of the most successful game Kickstarters ever, I think. And it is obviously just a callback to the likes of Banjo-Kazooie and Super Mario 64. And it's like, I want to kind of discuss why it feels like these have suddenly come back in a big way. Because even stuff like Super Mario Odyssey was very much a throwback in a lot of ways to like older Mario games, and less like level based and more like, alright, you have this open area and just has all these lots of mini objectives that you need to go finish. And yeah, I'm wondering, why do you think there was like this kind of weird void in the PS3 360 era, and why they've suddenly come back in such a big way?
Well, I think to me the Yooka-Laylee thing did have a part to play. I think probably developers kind of saw that, because obviously the time between Yooka-Laylee getting funded and its actual release was a good couple of years, I think.
Yeah.
So part of me thinks they probably saw the success of that and thought, fuck yeah, there's some money made, to be made in this. Let's maybe try and get some of that back out. Let's get some of that platformer money. Odyssey did it a lot better than Yooka-Laylee did, because if I remember, Yooka-Laylee came out to pretty mixed reactions, and that was because they literally just did a 2002 odd platformer, but with modern day graphics, and everyone was like, why do we have a game with a live system and stuff like that? Whereas Mario Odyssey modernized that. There was no lives. Yes, you could die, but you got kicked back to like one of your checkpoints or whatever. and the reason you were collecting stars was to make progress and unlock stuff, you know. So I would say, for me, I would definitely think it seems to be Ukulele's success from Kickstarter. People just want some of that sweet platform money.
I also think Mario took it to like its kind of next logical step in a lot of ways. And like Mario, you get like a star for fucking everything.
Yeah.
And it's like you would think when there's like 897 stars or something to get in the game that it would kind of seem patronizing. But no, there's like a good like rush every time you get a star, no matter what fucking trivial shit you had to do to get it.
It's like leveling up in like World of Warcraft. Like there is something very satisfying about that achievement, whether it be a ding or that the
jingle and dance he does.
Yeah, with Cappy. Yeah, you're 100% right. I think there are I am not a master. Like I said, I was very reluctant when I played Odyssey because, like I said, I wasn't a big Mario 64 fan, but Odyssey is the way a platformer should be done, or that style platformer should be done nowadays. 100%. It is fun. It is challenging. It is just you could spend about 100 hours in it and not feel like it's been 100 hours.
I suppose it would also probably be remiss to not say, like, we're talking about 3D platformers of this era with, obviously, Psychonauts 2 has been announced and is coming out. I believe they've tentatively said this year. They haven't put an exact month or anything on it, but they've tentatively said this year, and it should be this year or early next.
Yeah.
And, it'll be interesting to see, like, what they've learned in, 14 years since Psychonauts came out, and to see, like, the evolution that 3D platformers have gone through, to see what they kind of put into Psychonauts 2.
Yeah, like, I think, this game has kind of, like, made me excited for Psychonauts 2, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Did you just say Psychonauts?
Yeah, I was thinking of Lily and her mucus. Fuck off.
Okay.
No, I think, it seems weird that they've waited this long to do a sequel for it. But
I'm not sure if you know, but like Psychonauts was not a success in any way, shape, or form for Double Fine.
Not surprised.
Like, at the time, I believe it sold like less than 100,000 units.
Not surprised.
Which is like, that's bad, especially in an age where like you were able to track every retail unit sold because you weren't kind of split between retail and digital.
Yeah.
And like it wasn't a financial success or anything, so I think that's why it took them to kind of get into this age of crowdfunding and like getting crowd support to get a game, that it took so long to get a Psychonauts 2 because they needed the cult following that loved Psychonauts to kind of give them the push.
I would not be surprised if this game got critically panned as well. I know it was like you said, a financial failure, but if this is released in 2005 and games like Ratchet and Clank had come before this, where I imagine this game probably critically got fucking slaughtered as well. But like you said, platformers are making a comeback, you know, with the remastering of Bandicoot and Spyro and all. Like, now is the time for probably Psychonauts 2 if they have learned from their mistakes.
Yeah. So enough about the future, Hans. Let's talk about Psychonauts. Let's wrap this up. That's the word. All in all, I was disappointed is probably not the right word, but I was put off Psychonauts.
Devastated.
Put off by Psychonauts simply because I don't think it's held up very well in the grand scheme of things. Like, I can see, like, obviously the humor in this story and the characters are all top notch, but I think it's very much a chore to kind of go back and play, which is probably why I wouldn't recommend it to someone, but it has left me, like, kind of optimistic and kind of looking forward to Psychonauts 2, especially if, as we said, they can kind of take on some of the changes and sweeping changes in games that have come in 3D platformers and implement those to make it a lot more enjoyable game. And, like, throughout, like, playing it, I was, like, constantly when I was playing, I was thinking, if this had, like, an HD remaster, I'd probably be way into this, because they could use the HD remaster kind of tighten up a lot of the controls and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But as it stands, I probably couldn't recommend Psychonauts unless you were probably into it at the time. It's hard as a game that you're playing for the first time. It's hard to get into.
Yeah, this is a game of two halves. Like, on the one half, you have the amazing story, the amazing characters, the amazing world design. One of the, like, special mention to the Bullfighter world, because it is just, I could be wrong, but I think it's called Black Velvet, that world level, but that's just gorgeous because it's like all black, but the details are done in like neon like colors. It looks fucking amazing. So yeah, I think like all that's the design and like the visual design, I suppose you say, and the story and stuff to it is just unbelievable and really just bursting with character and charm and humor, and it's just amazing. And then you've got the other half, which is just really dated, frustrating, annoying gameplay. It was really disappointing on that side for me. I completely agree with you. If Psychonauts 2 has gone the Odyssey route, where they're taking pretty much the current formula and just modernizing it, Psychonauts 2 will be amazing. I really, really do believe that. But if they are just making more of the same, it's going to die a death. Like, if they have a life system in 2019, 2020, Jesus Christ, what are you playing on? So yeah, absolutely a game of two halves for me. I would say go on YouTube and type for Psychonaut cutscenes and then just do that.
Psychonauts supercut. So yes, to wrap up, it was potentially a very dated game in Psychonauts, but there are still some nuggets of goodness in there.
Nuggety goodness.
Yes, there's still some nuggety goodness in the story and writing. But we are all cautiously optimistic for Psychonauts 2.
Isn't that right, Why? We're cautiously optimistic.
Sure.
All of us.
Sure.
You've been here the whole time, you just haven't spoken.
So angry at Alex for what he did.
So yes, our last order of business. We have been joined by Mr. IY Chung.
Hello.
And he is going to tell us what game we will be playing for April's Game Club. IY, take it away.
Okay, so in advance, I might not be pronouncing this game's title correctly, but as I said to Nick, I wanted an excuse to play the Switch, because mine's kind of been gathering dust, right?
You need to get some Pokemon Let's Go on the go.
Maybe. But this is also out on Steam. But the game I have picked by Nomada Studio is... Okay, now this is where I'm going to get it wrong, right? I think it's actually pronounced Gris, because it's spelled Gris, but I don't think you pronounce the S.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Because I'm pretty sure it's supposed to just be the French word for grey. That's my choice. But I'll double check the actual pronunciation for whenever we record. Might be important.
Yeah, probably. I'd rather not get angry emails from people.
Hey man, look, Hans has already made this show so racist, right? So
he has, yes.
Yeah.
It's all gone downhill since Hans joined.
You mean from the start?
Exactly. So yes, join us at the end of April, where we will come back and discuss Gris?
Question mark?
Gris?
Gris?
Delete as appropriate. But for now, it is a goodbye from Hans.
Have a good one.
Goodbye from IY.
Bye.
And a goodbye from me. See you next time.
This is like the perfect Game Club game. Looking at the most helpful reviews. The bad parts, short and easy. Boom, sorted.